Assalamu alaikum and welcome to this week's video. And this video is all about finding balance and harmony as a new Muslim convert living in a non-Muslim family. As a Muslim convert myself, I became Muslim 10 years ago, alhamdulillah. I know firsthand the challenges and rewards of navigating my faith in a non-Muslim environment. So if you are a new Revert to Islam and you're trying to find comfort and confidence practicing your new faith while also maintaining very healthy and respectful relationships with non-Muslim people in your life, this video is definitely for you. So if you're just starting out on this journey or you have been Revert to Islam for a little while now, this video will be very helpful for you, inshallah. I hope to offer insight and support, so make sure you keep on watching. But before we start, I really wanted to mention my new free ebook on how to celebrate your natural beauty as a hijab wearing woman. And I've compiled in there some tips on how to style and accessorize your hijab so that you feel comfortable and confident in it without wearing your makeup. That's the key. You will also learn about the importance of self-care and self-love in enhancing your natural beauty, as well as how to cultivate self-confidence and self-acceptance, inshallah. Plus, I also share some personal stories about how I healed my body image and gave up makeup eventually to become my confident self, alhamdulillah. So if you are a Muslim hijabi woman and you're looking for ways you can enhance and celebrate your natural beauty without relying on makeup, then this ebook is definitely for you. Go ahead and download it. It's completely free. It comes in two different formats, in a PDF format and an audiobook, just to make it more easier for you to consume. Whatever you prefer, I got you covered. Just go to the link in the description and download it now. So let's get started with the video. Salam, I'm Veronica Adali. I'm a Revert to Islam, a founder of a modest activewear brand, a content creator, a wife, and a mom. I share my life and business journey as a Muslim woman living in New Zealand. My mission is simple: help Muslim women to embrace modesty and hijab while following their true passion. I create content to boost self-confidence, mindset, and lift your spirit so you can successfully balance faith, career, and motherhood. Subscribe for inspiration, motivation, and lots of laughter, all from a Muslim woman's perspective. Tip number 1, be open and honest with your loved ones about your beliefs and practices. Communication is everything. Communication is the key to a successful relationship, whether it's a relationship with your husband, your partner, your family members, your friends, your colleagues. Communication is everything. It really is. When you are being open and honest with your loved ones, you can create a very respectful environment that will help lead to understanding and acceptance, especially when misunderstandings and conflict arises with your decision to become Muslim. So, for example, if you just recently converted to Islam and your family is not very familiar with the religion, maybe all they know is what's being portrayed in the media, the stereotypes. You just never know. If they're not familiar with it, then it's your job to be open and honest with them. I know it might seem that it's easier just to keep your conversion a secret, just to practice in peace, but secrets tend to always come out. And I personally believe that it's always better to come to your family and be very honest with them, because it shows that you have respect for them to be honest with them. It's just, I personally would always like to know rather than guess. For example, like they will obviously see, well, if you're a woman and you decide to put on hijab or even wear hijab part-time, if you pray in your room, if you like stop eating pork and they eat pork, and it's just, it's very obvious when we're keeping secrets or when we're keeping a distance for whatever reason. So you can either be open with them or let their imagination run wild, which sometimes is not the best thing, and pretty much all the time it's not the best thing, because we always tend to imagine the worst. We tend to always think of the worst thing that could possibly happen and the worst thing that could possibly going on. That's just how hardwired we are as humans. So I personally believe that it's always better to be as open as you can be and as honest as you can be, and have those lines of communication open. When you tell your family openly that you did become Muslim, and you give your reasons and you give your explanation, and then you welcome their questions, and then you answer those questions, you are on the right path. You are on the right path to finding the balance and harmony you need in your family. That was the route I took with my mom 10 years ago when I did become Muslim. After my dad passed away, I was in a very vulnerable space in my life. I'm gonna leave my Revert story over here so you can check it out. I'll go in great detail in that video. But I became Muslim, and I only told my mom after the fact because it was such a personal decision that I've made. And I told my mom that I became Muslim. And alhamdulillah, my mom and I always had a very trusting relationship based on mutual respect. And she knew that I would never make any decision lightly. I always do a great deal of research. She was confident enough in me to send me to study overseas when I was 15 years old. That kind of relationship and trust we have. Actually, I have an entire story time video on this topic, how I moved to New Zealand when I was 15. I'm going to tag it over here. Check it out. And I'll also leave it in the description below. But alhamdulillah, we were always on good terms with my mom, and our communication never really suffered. So when I came to her and I told her that I did become Muslim, she basically said that it was my life to live. I can make my own decisions, and as long as I'm happy, she's happy. So alhamdulillah for that. But if I didn't come to her and kept it a secret, it would have created the distance and disconnect. So I personally believe it's always better to be as open and as honest with your non-Muslim family as you can as a Revert to Islam. Even if it means you have to navigate through some uncomfortable conversations, I promise you it's always better to have things out in the open so you can work through them together rather than just having it as this big secret, and the tensions will continuously rise. Misunderstandings and disconnection will continue to just fester in your family, and it's never good. It's just a ticking time bomb that it's better to get to it right from the beginning. We also tend to expect the worst reaction from people in our life, but people can surprise us. So we always need to give our people, the people that we love and care about, the benefit of the doubt, and just lay things out how they are, and then actually deal with the reactions that we get. And you never know, they might surprise us. I honestly expected my mom to be a little bit more resistant to me converting to Islam, but she wasn't. So alhamdulillah. Tip number 2, set healthy boundaries and respect the boundaries of your non-Muslim family. So one of the biggest challenges that new converts face is when they change their beliefs and practices, which means now their Islamic practices are different from whatever their family practices, whether it's cultural, whether it's just a lifestyle, whether it's another religion altogether. So it's always important for you to set healthy boundaries. and respect the boundaries of your family, because you have your life to live, they have their life to live, and you don't have to compromise your beliefs just to please your family. And when you choose to do that, to focus on your faith and set those boundaries, it also doesn't automatically mean that you're being disrespectful. You can set boundaries and be respectful, and this is how you do it. For example, you have 5 daily prayers to pray. Maybe you also want to dedicate some time to learning your new faith and just getting a deeper understanding. Your dietary restrictions. You don't drink alcohol anymore. You only eat halal meat. You don't eat pork. So all of those things need to be out in the open, and it's up to you to take the responsibility of practicing your faith. You can tell your family that you have to pray 5 times a day, and you like to read the Quran after each time you pray. That's when you don't want to be disturbed. That's when you want to be, for example, in your room, praying peacefully, learning. Tell your parents that this is your time to do that. Same goes with your dietary restrictions. You don't eat pork anymore. You tell your parents, I'm sorry, if you're eating pork, I cannot be a part of it. Maybe they'll be happy to work around your dietary restrictions. Maybe they'll even be happy to purchase only halal meat for you as well, so you guys can eat together. If not, then it's up to you to set that boundary. Okay, you're not willing to get that sorted for me. That's totally fine. I respect you. You can do what you want, and you can eat what you want, and you can drink what you want. But I'm setting a boundary, and I am not being a part of it. Even though you guys are my family, I'm going to cook my own food, and I'm not going to drink alcohol, and I'm not going to eat pork. So, and it's all very much figure outable. You can work through it together and set those boundaries that will make sure that your family is happy and you are happy, and you're not compromising your faith. Alhamdulillah, when I became Muslim, I was already living in my own apartment. I was 18 years old. I was living in New Zealand. My mom was in Russia. I was renting a studio apartment. And I didn't have to work around other people when it came to practicing my faith. I didn't have to worry about setting boundaries, because I could just set my own rules in my own house. Alhamdulillah, which made it easier practicing my faith. But my mom came to visit me at the end of 2013, and by then I was Muslim for the better part of the year. And that's when I informed my mom about my dietary restrictions, about my prayer times, about the fact that I don't eat pork, and all of that stuff. And she was very respectful of that. She was like, that's totally fine. I eat what you eat. Just make it easy for everybody. So yeah, alhamdulillah, that was also easy, but I was very assertive in my beliefs and practices. And I just told my mom, this is how I do things. I respect the way you want to do things. And so we just worked it out together. And everybody was happy in the end, and it was a lovely visit back in 2013. Moving on to tip number 3. Remember that it takes time and patience to find the balance and harmony that you desperately looking for being a new revert in a non-Muslim family. Remember, it always takes time and effort and a lot of patience to find that balance again, because now you taking a step towards a life-changing decision. Changing your faith is huge, especially if your family is religious as well and they have very firm beliefs in, their beliefs, whatever religion they choose to follow or lifestyle. And now you just completely disconnect yourself from that and choose a different faith. So the conflict is inevitable. Sometimes it's much worse than you expected. Sometimes it's all right. Sometimes it's just that it's non-existent. But it's quite rare. With a life change of such magnitude, you will have a bit of friction at the very least. So it's important for you to be patient with yourself, and of course, be patient with your family, because they're the ones who don't know much about your religion and trying to understand the choices that you've made. And the best thing you can do is just be consistent in your practices so that your family can watch you become the best version of yourself, inshallah. Because Islam teaches us that it's important for us to improve and grow and seek knowledge. So do all of that. Rather than trying to have heated arguments with your family and trying to convince them by telling them why the decision you've made is the right one for you, just show them. Be the best example. Be the best example of the Muslim character, and show them that you are truly happy, that you are content, that you are fulfilled in your life, and that Islam is a huge part of that. And over time, they will see it and hopefully come on board completely. I remember the first time I explained to my mom that I put the hijab on, and she was definitely very confused and concerned, especially because I waited for a couple of years after my conversion to put the hijab on. So she was under the impression that I didn't have to wear it to be a good Muslim, which of course is not true. It's always, hijab is mandatory. I actually have an entire video. Here it is hijab a choice? I break things down there, what I found in my research. So if you're curious, check it out. I'll leave it in the description below. But she didn't want me to wear it. She was under the impression that I didn't have to wear it, and she didn't want me to wear it. She was very, very clear. And of course, it took some time and effort and lots of long and deep conversations with my mom to help me explain to her that my hijab is an act of worship and it helps me connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it actually makes me feel so much more comfortable as a Muslim woman, and why it's important for me to wear it in the Western society especially. So yes, she did come around, alhamdulillah. Her major concern was fear for my safety, which is fair enough. Islamophobia is very real, and it's ever more present in this day and age, sadly. So yes, once we got to the bottom of the problem and the root of the problem, I was able to address it better and communicate things better. And alhamdulillah, she did eventually accept and embrace my decision. It took us a few months to work through it, a few tears on my part. I am the emotional crybaby. But yes, and the main part of that conflict was because we were in different countries. I was in New Zealand, she was in Russia, but as soon as we met up in Turkey in 2016, it was all poof. Like it never happened, because she could see that I was myself, that I was happy, that I absolutely loved my experience wearing the hijab, and she came on board. And she even got me a very special headscarf. It was handmade and hand-painted by a Russian artist, and to this day it's one of my prized possessions that I absolutely love and cherish my whole life, alhamdulillah. So it was open-mindedness on my mom's part and patience and persistence on my part that helped us come together. And she's been so supportive of my hijab journey ever since. And tip number 4, make dua. Make lots of dua for your loved ones. As a Muslim revert, it's important for you to understand and accept that your choices and your faith may not always be accepted or understood. This can be difficult. I totally understand it. That's why it's so important for us to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask for guidance and support. When we feel helpless, when we feel tired because of the conflict that's happening with our families, the best we can do is make dua. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide them and to help them understand why you chose to become Muslim, and maybe bring them closer to Islam if that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills. Making dua for your loved ones is such a powerful way to ask for support and guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but also have a peace of mind that you're doing absolutely everything you can to help your family understand. Being a Muslim revert, navigating the relationship with your non-Muslim family is a challenging yet rewarding experience. By following these steps, like being open and honest with your family, setting healthy boundaries, and of course being patient with your family, inshallah, you will be able to find peace and harmony and balance in your family unit once again. Remember, it takes time and effort, and it's okay to have setbacks and make mistakes. But with patience, perseverance, and the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can overcome any challenges that come your way and find a place of peace and acceptance and understanding from your non-Muslim family. So be proud of your faith and your journey. Don't let anyone discourage you from living your truth. And with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may you find peace and harmony with your non-Muslim family, being a new revert to Islam. This is it from me. If you found this video helpful, make sure you leave me a thumbs up, comment below and let me know. Share it with new Muslim reverts who will benefit from this information. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our channel right here if you haven't done so yet. That's everything from me. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Assalamu alaikum, and I'll catch you later.